Hello, I'm Scott Montgomery with the Small Town Mercer. Today in this video I'm going to present the cryptocurrency theory of investing, and then I'll come back after the video is finished and I'll expound on it a little further. This is a quicker video that I'm going to show. I hope, now this video has ads in it, so I hope I don't run into any ads but by the time I finish what I want to share in this video. So without further ado, we will show, this is from Findmatics, sorry. This is a very good video series that explains a lot about crypto financing and how cryptocurrency financing generally works. So I'm going to play this video. Hopefully won't have any ads, but we'll see. Now, he's a foreigner. He speaks pretty decent English. So let's, without further ado, let's let him get started.
Innovations. The financial system is far from being perfect. Settlement of stocks, bonds, and other financial instruments takes days to clear and requires a massive amount of human capital involved in the process. Key decisions impacting millions, if not billions of people are made behind the closed doors by a group of privileged few. Billion-dollar banking scandals that surface months, if not years after the fact. Massive inefficiencies and high cost when it comes to international banking and remittance services. Unequal access to financial services with billions of unbanked people across the globe. Banks hiring thousands of employees just to keep maintaining inefficient processes and being compliant with ever-changing banking regulations. A super high barrier to entry for the new players, making it almost impossible to start a new financial company without access to the massive amount of capital, stifling innovation. The whole financial infrastructure consists of siloed systems built with proprietary technologies and algorithms that each company has to make from scratch. The beautiful user interfaces provided by fintech companies only cover the fact that the financial system is built on old and inefficient foundations. Something that seems to be instant for the user can take days to fully process behind the scene. On top of that, the backbone of the financial system hasn't evolved much since the mainframe computers were introduced. This is exactly why we need something new, something better that can address some of these problems. And this is where decentralized finance comes into play. Instead of relying on old and inefficient infrastructure, decentralized finance, or DeFi, leverages the power of cryptography, decentralization, and blockchain to build a new financial system. A system that can provide access to well-known financial services, such as payments, lending, borrowing, and trading, in a more efficient, fair, and open way. Efficient, as all operations are settled almost immediately. It doesn't matter that counterparties may be in completely different geographic locations, with inconsistent laws and regulations. On top of this, most of DeFi protocols can operate with no or minimal human involvement. Fair, as all services are completely permissionless and censorship resistant. Permissionless, as everyone with a browser and the internet connection can access them. There is no document verification, no need to provide income statements. Nationality or race doesn't matter, everyone is treated in the exact same way. Censorship resistant, as no other parties can deny us access to these services. Even multiple bad actors cannot change the rules of a sufficiently decentralized system. Open, as everyone can build a new DeFi application and contribute to the ecosystem. In contrast to traditional finance, new applications can leverage the existing protocols and build on top of existing solutions. On top of that, everything is transparent and visible on the blockchain. Trading volume, number of outstanding loans, total debt, all of these can be reliably checked on the blockchain. Even better, These numbers cannot be tampered with. All of this is possible thanks to the invention of Bitcoin and Ethereum and their underlying technologies. In particular, Ethereum, as a smart contract platform, allows for creating any arbitrary financial applications.
Look.
AT&T invested
Darn it, I almost made it.
$125 billion to help students get the internet access they need to learn.
I hate this. It's the same commercial too.
Join us and help close the homework gap.
Always every 2-3 minutes it interrupts. I hate that.
Because of these characteristics, Ethereum became a go-to blockchain for the vast majority of DeFi activities. Decentralized finance has recently been experiencing tremendous growth. Some of the key metrics are total value locked in DeFi. This represents the value of all tokens locked in various DeFi protocols, such as lending platforms, decentralized exchanges, or derivatives protocols. This number has grown from less than $1 billion in April 2020 to over $32 billion in February 2021. Another important metric is the trading volume across decentralized exchanges. This figure has grown from around $500 million in April 2020 to over $50 billion in January 2021.
All right, I'm going to leave it there. So there's a couple of things that I want to talk about here. All right, first of all, two things that this video does not address. Where does the money come from? First of all, people take their hard-earned money, right? Because part of money you were supposed to put away in savings, or you're supposed to invest it. Remember in the traditional videos I discussed that? Well, part of your funds or your money you're going to put into these protocols. Okay, so basically you put your money in, you buy Ethereum or Bitcoin or some other altcoin, and so you have money in that. Now, over a period of time, you're going to have a portion of your money. Let's say you make, remember I in the traditional system I was telling you, and this is going to be a semi-traditional system. Remember I told you that, you made $500 to $1,000 a month, you put maybe 10-20% of your money in an investment. Well, I've been putting about 10% of my investment money into this for about a year now. And over a period of time, you accumulate wealth. You know, in Bitcoin. Bitcoin is worth, I think today, $47,000 or $47,000, you know, so one Bitcoin equals $47,000. I think Ethereum today is maybe $1,500-$1,600 for an Ethereum coin. And other coins have various values, right? Okay, so let me utilize that to show you how different it is from the fiat system. When you borrow money to buy a car, the car, let's say it's a really nice family car today. What does that cost? About $40,000? How much money do you put down when you buy this car? And how long does it take to pay it off? Well, let's assume you're going to put $4,000 down. So what is that, 10%? And you're going to pay an interest rate of what? 5%? I don't know. I haven't bought a car in so long now. I don't even know. 5%. I don't know. I'm just going to guess that. So you pay it off, let's say 6 years. I don't know. I know they do 4, 5, 6, 7 years now. I don't know. 72 months. Let's say 6 years. So for 6 years, you're going to be paying $400 or $500 a month for 6 years, right? Okay. This is a more traditional system. Remember, it's got finite value. So the value of it continues to grow in comparison to the dollar, which is being inflated and is shrinking. So in a more stable system, let's say you want to make a loan in the Ethereum. Let's use Ethereum because it's not a great value like Bitcoin. So Ethereum. So you want to buy a car. Let's say all of our money is on Ethereum. Okay? So Ethereum is about $1,500, let's say. So relatively speaking, your car is going to be worth about, I don't know, 5,000 Ethereum, something like that. Um, I guess I could use a calculator, maybe 10,000 Ethereum. So guess what? When you borrow money, remember I told you in a previous video that in the cryptocurrency world, you are the bank. You are not going to a bank to get money, where the fractional system that we saw in the previous video I did down here in my library today, um, earlier today, I should say. So in the Ethereum world or in the cryptocurrency world, if you're going to put down a loan for $10,000, generally you have to have, or 10,000 Ethereum, let's say. Generally, you have to have 20 to 25,000 Ethereum already saved up. So it's kind of like the good old days. And you must be thinking to yourself, oh my God, I have to save up all this money before I can take out a loan? Yeah, because you're the bank now. And when you take out that loan, guess what? When you pay that money back, you're getting interest on the money that you are saving. Remember the good old days when you put money in the bank and banks loaned out money? And when they loaned out money, they made a profit because it was based off of the gold standard. So they were actually earning more money than taxes and inflation combined. That's what's happening in this system. You are earning more money, right? Your savings account generally in these accounts, because you're loaning the money out. When you, like, remember I told you in a previous video that I loan my money out to protocols because that way I make interest. I make 3, 4, 5, 6, 7% interest. So if I'm borrowing, generally, you know what? One of my protocols called BlockFi, I put Bitcoin in there. I have like $3,000 worth of Bitcoin in this particular protocol, I think. Maybe less than that, I don't know. I have it spread around in several different places. But in that one, and really I only deposited, I think, $1,000 in there. It's now worth $3,000 because I did it way back when. And I make 6% interest on that Bitcoin. Guess what? When I want to borrow money against my Bitcoin, they pay me in dollars. I could borrow Ethereum, I guess, at some point. But right now it's in dollars if I want to borrow. Guess what they charge to borrow money? I think the minimum you can borrow is $5,000. So I would have to have $10,000 worth of Bitcoin or Ethereum to borrow. But guess what? I borrow it, they charge me 4%. There's another exchange in London, and I wish I could use it because I'm in America. If I were in another country besides America, they would charge me 1%. And they pay 6.5% interest on their Bitcoin. So I'm paying back a loan at 4% or 1% or 2%. But in my account, my money is earning 6%. Now you do the math. I took a $10,000 loan to buy this car. Guess what? I get the car. They're paid off. I'm paying the protocol back 4%. But the remaining, 15 to 18,000 Ethereum I have in my account is drawing 6% interest. Am I losing money at $10,000 paying back 10,000 Ethereum, at 4%? Or am I making money when I'm paying 4% on 10,000 or I'm making 6% on 18,000? In the same exact protocol. I don't call it a bank because I'm the bank. So, and that's how sound money should work. You should be a lender. So this idea of I'm going to go out and borrow money and buy a house, borrow money, buy a car, borrow money, buy phones, borrow money, buy appliances, borrow money, buy this, that, and the other. This makes saving rewarding now because you can do all that if you have the money, if you have it saved up. But see, back in the old days, what did we do? You know, I got my 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 dad's extra TV or maybe an extra car he had that we used as a family car that he didn't need anymore. Maybe I got a used washing machine for $50 or something, and then I hung them. My first house, I remember when I bought a house and I was living in Kansas City. I bought a washing machine for $150 from a rent-to-own place that was getting rid of it. It was an old model. And I put up a clothesline and hung my clothes up in the basement. And I'd wash clothes, and it would take them about a day or so to dry. And then, boom, I had my laundry. You know, I used fabric softener, and my clothes were great. They were dry, they were soft, they weren't hard, they were clean. You know, $150, you know, and I think I used it for about 6, 7 years. I even had a repairman come out, fix the belt and a couple parts that were still, you know, were still being made. And that's how I lived. I didn't even, you know, when I could afford a dryer, I didn't buy one. I just kept using the clothesline. I wasn't married at the time, so you know it worked for me. And that's what I'm talking about. So you save the money, you learn to be a saver, and then when you do that down the road, you need a car, a nice car, a nice 10,000 Ethereum, 15,000 Ethereum car. Um, you know, you borrow the money and get it, but you have money in the bank already. So you borrow yourself money, you pay it back, you know, because and the reason I say that you'd borrow the money, you wouldn't just take it out. You're probably thinking, why don't I just sell the Ethereum and take it out and get rid of it? Well, because as you're paying that money back, once you pay it back, you know, you got the 10,000 Ethereum back plus interest. Because remember, as you're paying this loan back, you're paying back the principal. So after 2 years, you've got another 3,000 Ethereum built up. And you add that to the 18 or 20, 23,000 that you've already made in interest on the stuff you did not borrow against. Okay? So as you pay that off, that Ethereum gets put back into the other column. So that's why you don't sell it, because then you'd have to buy it back again. And maybe it's a higher price later on than it is now, because you know maybe it's gaining value against other currencies, right? So it might be more expensive later on. So you borrow against it because that way you still have the asset. So it gets freed up as you pay it off. So like you're going to pay it off in 5 years, let's say, or no, 4%, usually you might pay that off in 3 years. So after the first year, you paid a third of it off. That third moves back into the 18,000 column and becomes what, 23,000 or 25,000. And so that's why you borrow against it and you don't sell it. And you don't, like we used to say, pay cash. So that way you're making money. And that's how this works. Guess what else? And this is something I'm going to address in a future video. Guess what else this does? Remember in the video I just showed earlier, if you want to replay this video earlier, he's made a statement. He said that there's a large portion of the world that is unbanked. Many of you, I don't know, let's say those of you who have traveled to foreign countries, let's say gone to a Latin American country or an African country or parts of India or parts of Asia, some of these areas, maybe some of the islands, you know, out in the Pacific or in the Caribbean, whatever. There are some islands, some portions of islands, some portions of countries that are impoverished. Some portions of Africa, they're impoverished. They don't have access to a bank. But I do know from watching a lot of travel log videos while I've been recuperating from my 2 or 3 surgeries I've had over the last couple of years, I've noticed that even people in remote villages in Tahiti, or not Tahiti, but Fiji or or Southeast Asia or Vietnam or wherever. They're living in a grass shack, but guess what? They have a cell phone and they have electronics. So they have access to a computer. They have access to cryptocurrency. And guess what? If you live in America, if you live in Mexico, if you live in the Netherlands, if you live in the poorest country in Africa, if you live in Borneo or wherever, okay? Some of these poor countries, Ethereum costs the same everywhere. If everybody used Ethereum all over the world, you don't have this, how much is your money in dollars? You go to some poor country, 10,000 cocoa berries it takes to equal $1. So you go to that country and you give them $20 and you get 50,000 cocoa berries and you live like a king in their country, because the poor people there, they don't have 50,000 cocoa berries. Okay? But guess what? If we all have Ethereum, it's obviously they're going to have less Ethereum than we do, but nonetheless, they can build their Ethereum the same way we can. They'll probably be better at saving because they can do more without than we can. So over a period of time, they're going to save up that Ethereum. And guess what? When you go to their country, your Ethereum's worth the same amount of their Ethereum. So you and they are actually economically equal. And that's the beauty of cryptocurrency, is that the whole world, you're not going to have haves and have-nots like you do in the banking system. You will have people that have more Ethereum than other people, but they're not going to be so impoverished and denied capital. How many people go, how many bankers set up a bank in the middle of Fiji and loan these people money? How are they going to ever pay them back? They're not. Here's a fish. Thank you for that $10,000. Here's a couple coconuts to go along with it. Okay, they don't have work. They don't have assets. They have small, tiny islands. And so what makes them equal? What makes them equal is if they have some internet, and I know they do, some of them do, and some of them have computers or cell phones, some of them do. They can all go on the computer, set up an account, get Ethereum or get whatever cryptocurrency and save it and have value. And that way, if they ever wanted to do some kind of an enterprise out of their hut or their house or whatever, they can. So now the whole world gets more and more equal. And it's not a race thing. It doesn't matter what your race is at that point. If you have the Ethereum, you have the Ethereum. The blockchain is blind. If you make a purchase, you have the Ethereum. That's all it knows. It doesn't even know your name. You have a key code that you use, belongs to you and only you, and you send it through, and you might as well be, you could be in Africa, or you can live in the Palace of Fine Arts and have your white privilege card. Doesn't matter. He gets it. If he outbids you for it, the guy in Africa gets it and you don't, because it doesn't know the difference between either of you. And that's what I like about this system. It's probably going to solve a lot of poverty issues without having to have some politician at the other end, getting a big check for doing it and credit or whatever. Now you can do it yourself. So those are the big issues, or the big ticket things I like about cryptocurrency world. So in my next video, I'm going to talk more about some of the cryptocurrency, some of the cryptocurrency strategies. Boy, I never end my videos very well, do I? I guess I run out of gas. So anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And this is Scott Montgomery with the Small Town Mercer. We'll see you next time.